guess, a 5th year now
from
Colorado.
Yeah. And yeah, so what's your earliest memory, Alison?
Right. So I feel like a lot of times actually like people think they remember things that they just see in pictures. So for me, like I lived in England at the beginning of my life, and I think my earliest memory was probably when I was like 5, maybe, and it was the transition of us moving from England back to Colorado.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I just remember this boy. His name was Dan. He was my first love. And I remember I was getting out of the car to go to the airport, and he brought me a bouquet of flowers. And that's literally like my first memory.
That's so sweet.
But it was like a memory of me leaving him, so it was kind of
sad.
That
sounds like the purest love.
I know. It was
he
great.
Also 5 years old?
Yeah.
Oh.
We were in the same grade since preschool, you know.
He brought you flowers. Have you found him on Facebook or anything?
No. I really wish I had.
That'd be crazy. Oh, so you were born in England then?
No, so I was born in Colorado, and I moved to England when I was 3 months old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
really
and
little. Yeah.
Lived there till about 5 and a half, and then moved back.
What do you remember about those like first 5 years at all, or like?
I mean, I remember primary school a little bit. I remember like I went to a small school in Shrewsbury, and I remember some of my friends, and I'm still friends with them today. But other than that, probably like the squeaky stairs in our house are like a big memory. Like we had a really weird house. It was like square with like stairs that went down around the square into this weird basement that I was afraid to go into.
Fair enough, yeah.
But I don't remember a whole lot from that time. Mostly, I guess, my grandparents lived really close to us, so I have a lot of memories of like going to the beach and stuff. But
do your grandparents still live in that area, and or like do you ever go back to that area where you initially
lived? So my grandma's dead, but my granddad moved to Worcester where my aunt and uncle live. So that's about an hour from Shrewsbury. So no, they don't live in the same area, but it's all pretty close together down in the south.
And then your family's in London at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll be moving back to Colorado next summer after I graduate.
Oh, okay. How do you feel about having that like kind of dual Coloradan?
Coloradan,
and then like British identity, or switching off between the two?
Yeah, it's weird because people don't ever know I'm British because obviously I have an American accent. I feel like it only really impacted me when I first moved back to Colorado because I did have a British accent.
Oh, and
and
5-year-old.
People thought it was really cute for the first day, and then I got teased a lot, so I lost my accent really fast. But I don't know, it's kind of just a weird part of me that I don't really think about. I mean, I don't think it makes me fit in one place or the other anymore. It just...
Would you say you are like more American than you are British?
Definitely. Yeah, I would identify as Coloradan, probably not English, but...
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Colorado? I know you're a very like proud Coloradan.
Oh yeah.
How did kind of like where you grew up shape who you are?
Well, first of all, I think it made me really active. I've done sports my entire life. I've always been into hiking and stuff like that. And obviously Colorado is a beautiful place with lots of outdoor activities. So that definitely shaped that. I think had I lived somewhere else, I probably wouldn't have been as sporty. It also, I don't know. I feel like people from Colorado are just super friendly. Yeah. And I feel like we all have really relaxed attitudes. And so I think that's just, I'm a pretty chill person. I think that's made me who I was. But
so what was it like the primary school versus American elementary school?
Yeah.
Do you remember any differences, or what? Or if you don't, like, what was just little Alison like in general?
Okay. Well, I don't remember much about my English primary school except that we had to learn French. It was required. So I know, like, how to say the colors, and that's about it.
Nice.
But little Alison was pretty much didn't know she was a girl. I had a lot of friends. I was very popular. Like, little kids all get along. No. Yeah, it's very true. No, I just didn't really care about people or anything. I just cared about, like, going on adventures with people. I don't know. I was just playful.
Yeah.
I just, I listened to my parents and I went to school. I enjoyed school.
Mm-hmm.
I had lots of friends. We would go out into the mountains and, play house, but like mountain version where you're like making shelters out of rocks and stuff.
That's so cool though. That's like the elevated version of every kid's kind of reality. It's what they wish they could actually do.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because instead of, I don't know, like growing up, like playing on like roads and stuff in like close together neighborhoods, we like would just go out and play in like our backyards, which are in the mountains, and you'd have to, know if like a bear came, you know what to do and stuff. Which I think is really funny when I meet people who aren't from like mountainous regions, that they're like, they don't really know what to do if they encounter a wild animal. And I've been taught that since I lived in Colorado.
I can't say it's a knowledge set that I have, but I know exactly what to do in the case of an earthquake.
Yes, I wouldn't know what to do for that.
I remember I lived in New Hampshire one summer, and they were like talking about one earthquake they had like 5 years ago. Yeah. And I was like, are you kidding me, guys?
Ready for this?
Nah. Earthquakes happen all the time.
Yeah.
But that's my knowledge set.
Well, I think everyone has
cooler,
different. Well, I don't know. I've never really encountered a mountain lion once, and I never want to do that again.
What's the protocol for mountain lion encounters?
It's kind of the same as bears. You like make yourself big and like talk calmly and don't look it in the eye.
Don't.
And like walk away slowly. But then if it attacks you, you should fight back. You shouldn't just play dead. Like it won't try to eat you if you're trying to fight it.
I recently watched this nature guy talk about nature stuff. Oh, I should turn the sound of my phone off. Oh, rookie move. But he was saying that it depends on the type of bear. And that's a certain type of bear responds to you being dead, but other types you're meant to like. I don't remember the types that he said, which is probably the essential part of
we get black bears mostly in Colorado, so they're the least vicious out of all the brown bears, and grizzly bears are the ones that will attack you. I don't know if you're supposed to play dead, right? I wouldn't probably ever play dead because, I feel
kind of helpless.
Yeah, and plus if you're fighting it, it probably it's going to find something easier to eat.
That's true.
So we were wild children, in summary.
Going back to kind of your growing up, so you have one brother. Is that your only son that you have? What kind of older sister were you / are you? And or like the differences between?
Yeah, okay. So my brother is 5 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. So I'd say probably right now, like in our relationship, we're like best friends. Like I would tell him anything, and we do the same stuff. Like, but we don't get in each other's way because we're far enough apart that
we kind of have our own difference. Kind of divide you, or like distance you at all, or
it does now, and I think we have more patience for each other. When I was younger, I don't know. He was always a pain in my butt. Like he always, and I think it was because he looked up to me, and he always wanted to do what I wanted to do, but I wanted my own space. He was like, "You're 5. Like, go do something your age." So I think the distance helped because we didn't have all the same similar. Like we didn't want to do the same stuff all the time, but he did always want to be older, and I just wanted to be alone sometimes. So it was a bit tense.
Yeah,
I like to say I had a good impression on him, but he got into a lot of fights that he got a lot of the blame for.
And that's how you know you're a good big sister. When did that kind of relationship start changing more towards friendship?
I would say probably towards my last 2 years in high school. So he would have been in middle school, and it kind of I think as soon as he got into middle school, he matured a little. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but he matured a little and kind of had his own friends and like would go out with them. And then I was obviously busy being a senior in high school, as you do. So I think definitely that time. And ever since I left for college, we've become closer because we don't get to see each other as much.
Yeah, I found that as well, just in a lot of different relationships. Just in that space away.
It's true though.
Oh wait, I actually like you. You're decent. Talking kind of about your parents, like How would you describe the way you were raised by them? And then what kind of traits do you see of them in you?
Okay. Well, I'll start with traits because that's probably easiest. So both my parents were math majors, and my whole family is very logical and probably less empathetic towards people. So, like in a situation, my mom and my dad would both see like the logical answer and kind of go towards that rather than maybe thinking more about other people's emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
And I definitely get that from them. Like I find it hard when people don't make logical sense in their decisions because it just makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is very athletic, so I think I get quite a bit of that from him.
Yeah.
Not that he's like very naturally athletic, so.
Do you not think you are?
I think I have to work a little harder than he does.
Okay.
But definitely we've all played sports our entire life. And then my mom was definitely more of the outgoing one. And she, she can easily talk to people and stuff. And I wouldn't say I'm the most outgoing person. So I think I don't really relate to my mom in that sense because I find it harder to connect with people, whereas she can just go like, she makes it seem easy, and I have to try really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really had any conflict with my parents, like growing up, like being raised. Like we were all best friends. My family was so close.
Yeah.
Except for those minor fights with my brother.
What do you think is the reason for that?
I honestly don't know. Like I think I got grounded once in my entire life, and they just took away TV for 2 days because I was a rule follower.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like I never did anything bad. And so I think, I don't know, my parents were just good parents, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard. I don't know if there's one thing that you could say that, I don't know. My mom, I guess, maybe I get along a little better with my dad than I do with my mom. Just because he was a stay-at-home dad. So my mom went out and would be gone for, probably Monday through Thursday working in a different state. And my dad stayed on. Yeah, it depended on where her work was. Like she worked in Cincinnati, Texas, California.
What does she do, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So she works for HP.
Okay.
And she's kind of like a global client manager. So she...
Nice.
Business stuff that I would never be able to do.
Yeah.
But my dad stayed at home and like would take us to school, and he worked at the local schools and he would take us to practice. So I think probably it just bonded to him a little more.
Yeah.
But
I always remember, I think, at least in high school, well, my mom and I are very similar, so that's probably why we clashed big time.
Yeah.
But my dad was also the one that like always took me to practices and stuff. So like I think that's kind of why, at least in high school, like the mix of those two things made me like feel a little more comfortable around him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I had a pretty uneventful. I knew my parents were always there for me.
Yeah.
Like I went through some stuff in middle school, and they were just supportive. So I just don't really think maybe it was to do with the logic that we all just knew that it wasn't logical to fight. Like, it just made
your brother
harder.
The same way?
Yeah, he's the exact same.
Yeah. It's funny how that works out.
I know.
It'd be interesting to see if like one of you hadn't turned out that way or something like that. And then
that would be interesting.
Just
we're all
ruin the family dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's this one child.
Oh, Alison. How would you describe kind of like 13-year-old Alison?
I was 13.
That was like
8th grade?
7th, 8th grade? Yeah.
Okay.
End of 7th, start of 8th.
Whew. Yeah. Well, middle school is a hard time for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I think it shaped who I am today more than anything else in my
really?
life, honestly.
Okay.
So in 7th grade, I had so the middle school we went to all like combined 5 different schools from around the mountain.
Yeah.
And I went to do 2 different elementary schools. So I had friend groups from each that both came to the middle school. And so then we all became friends. And then in 7th grade, my friend group decided they didn't want to be friends with me anymore.
Yeah.
And it just, like, there's a lot of detail, but, like, in the end, it just came down to I was getting bullied so much that I just had to not, I had to move on and find new friends. So pretty much half of 7th grade, I just didn't have friends. And then in 8th grade, I made a lot of great friends that I'm still friends with today and, like, had a great experience in high school. But I think the one thing I take from middle school is that I find it really hard to trust people, like, because of what happened to me.
Yeah.
And, like, so when I'm making friends, I'm very cautious, and it's hard for me to be outgoing just because I don't know if they're going to betray me later on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, middle school was a rough time.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of guy friends.
In middle school?
In a result, yeah. And in high school.
Yeah.
Because guys are just easier to get along with most of the time. Like, I
well,
have a lot of great girlfriends.
I feel like at least they're, like,
Yeah,
early teenage guys are easier to get along with than early teenage girls. Because early teenage girls are all over the place.
I don't know what it is and why they even have middle school. I feel like it should just not be
Everyone should be put in, like, a little container for, like, those years.
Yeah.
Learn alone and then go to merge in high school. It's like no one needs those years.
No.
Those, like, awkward, like, 3 years that just
make
no break. Normally break. For the select few, it's like a good experience, but
I don't know that I've ever met anyone who's had it good.
That's true, though, because I think I have in my mind the people that I went to school with that I think it probably was great for, but I feel like if you talk to them,
they probably have a different side.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everyone's just super insecure about themselves, and it's a weird time for everyone.
So how were you different in high school, then?
Yeah, well, so in high school, obviously I made a really good group of friends. Like, there were about 5 of us. And I think it was, I don't know, there were obviously more grades above us when we entered freshman year that hadn't been there when I was in middle school. And I joined a lot more clubs. So in middle school, we couldn't really do there weren't really any extracurricular clubs. And when I got to high school, like, I played soccer, I did diving, I was on the ski team for a bit. Like, I just made so many more friends through sports, which is, I think, the best way to make friends.
I agree.
You connect with someone on something. And so, like, you guys, even if you don't know what to talk about, like, you can talk about soccer.
Or, like, if you don't know what to do, you can, like, do something together as well, too.
Yeah. So I think that helped me with at least my trust issues.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, just being exposed to different clubs.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. It was a really weird difference between middle school and high school. Like, I had so much fun in high school. I think it's been my best 4 years so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy university, obviously, but, like,
I don't know.
I enjoyed all my classes, and I think I was also, when we got to high school, we were separated finally into, like, accelerated classes and non-accelerated classes, and I think for me that was a good change because I'd been in a lot of classes where I wasn't being challenged, or because, all these were public schools, like, I didn't have a choice of where I could go. And so I think the people in my accelerated classes, like, were more like me, so I got along better with them.
And you went to a public high school as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about having gone to public school and being in St. Andrews? Because there aren't a lot of people that
it's
which I was very surprised at.
Yeah, I was surprised too because I figured, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, so I was the only person to go out of country in my school, and one of 5 people to go out of state.
Oh, wow.
So they have a very high, everyone pretty much stays in Colorado.
Yeah.
So when I came here, obviously I guess that's maybe where my English background helped a little bit because, Scotland is pretty much the same as England, and I understood the culture and stuff, but it's very different here. I just don't, I don't know. Like, I love everyone here, but there's definitely a different atmosphere of what's acceptable. And I think coming from a public high school, I mean, I don't know. I don't ever tell people that I'm from, like, unless they ask.
Yeah.
I just let them make assumptions. But I don't think I see a difference in people who went to private schools necessarily. Because for me, like, in my classes at least, everyone there is very, like, focused. And no one talks about where they came from because we're all on such a hard curriculum anyway that, like, you made it there and you're worth it, so you don't have to talk about like the differences between where you came from school or whatever.
Yeah.
I only ever really notice it when I'm like on night outs and people spend like open tabs on stuff that I was like, oh, okay, well, like, I don't have that much money, but that's cool.
Yeah. Kind of backtracking a bit, how did you end up in St. Andrews?
Yeah, so obviously I have dual nationality, so I knew I wanted to come abroad at least 1 year in my college experience. And so I actually had a college coach that helped me look at schools. And so he was like, oh, why not look at Scotland? Because it has similar years to the American system, like 4 years instead of the weird 3 in England.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, like, let's look at that. So I looked at, like, Harriet Watt and Edinburgh.
Harriet Watt?
Yeah. And then obviously here. And I didn't like any of the other schools. So I was like, oh, why not come here for 4 years? Like, it was between this school and St. Olaf, which is a small school in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And it was cheaper to come here.
Yeah.
Because St. Olaf was a private school. And then also I could study the only subject I wanted to for 4 years instead of having to study like history
or general stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, and I got to play football here, soccer, whatever, whatever one. So I was like, it kind of sealed the deal for me when I came and visited. I was like, I could see myself here for 4 years.
What was I gonna say? So how did you make the decision to do 5 years though?
Yeah. Okay.
Or do you want to talk about your program a bit?
Yeah, sure. So I do chemistry with math, but then it's an integrated master's. So next year I'm doing a master's year. And you have to apply for that when you apply for your program.
Okay, so that was as a senior in high school
I knew I wanted to do. And I think, at least in chemistry, it's a very popular option to do the integrated master's, especially if you're direct entry, because then it's only 4 years. But I think pretty much in the field of chemistry, at least, further on to get a job in a lot of research positions, which is pretty much what chemistry, I mean, there's a lot of industrial positions, but I think in the end, having a master's qualifies you better. Yeah. And, I mean, my parents were willing to pay for the extra year. Yeah. And I could get onto the program, so I was like, well, 4 years of math, 5 years of chemistry is going to set you up pretty nicely, even if you don't want to do chemistry afterwards. So, I don't know. It was an easy choice. I could have dropped out if I wanted to. You can drop down.
Oh, you can?
I think after second year you can't, but if you know it's going to be too much or you don't want to stay here anymore, then you can drop down. But
did you ever consider that or
no? Maybe in third year, but I wouldn't have had the option to because it was too late.
Okay, but why in third year?
Just because I was getting a little overwhelmed by my coursework. Like third year was probably my hardest year. Yeah. And the town was kind of small. I really, and I think because last year my parents moved to London and I really missed Colorado because now we go home for like 2 weeks a year. Yeah. But like I didn't have that break from the British culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just kind of getting a little suffocated. So I was like, oh, how am I going to do 2 more years here? Yeah. But then like that went away. Like it was fine after first semester.
Do you see yourself staying in the UK or do you want to go back?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends where you get a job, right?
Yeah.
But the current goal is to go do further study somewhere in the States. I definitely want to go back to the States eventually. I'm not sure if right now is the best time because sorry to all you Trump supporters.
I mean, given my Facebook friends that are normally the people that listen to these, I don't know how many there are, but...
Well, especially because most of the stuff I want to do is either renewable research or space, and both of those are being defunded by the current U.S. government. Yeah. So going to Europe would probably be a better option, but...
How do you kind of navigate your professional goals with what's going on currently? What's your kind of take on it, or how do you see yourself in that scheme?
Well, I definitely want to do a PhD at some point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do want to just get working. And so I think that's a really involved question.
I know, it's not very straightforward. I don't really know what I'm going for here, but...
I mean...
Like, do you see it as something that would change your professional course, or do you see it as something that you want to overcome and or look to change?
No, I don't see it as something that would change like what I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think there will be challenges, especially if I go back to the States. But I also think that I don't know where I'd be in my career, but hopefully I'd be able to bring change to. I mean, if I stayed in Europe, right, I wouldn't have issues because they're all, pro everything. But if I went back to the States, I think part of my goals would be to make it more of a like a problem people need to learn about and like know they need to change because it's going to affect us all in about 30 years.
Are you talking like climate wise? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what kind of work specifically do you, or more specifically do you, just for someone who is baffled by the whole industry?
So in renewables, all I want to do is work on cells. So, solar panels and wind farming is all part of it. But there's another side of it that there's a chemical side that the cells that are in those things, you can create more efficient cells that make all of the different types of renewable energies cleaner and more efficient. And so, I kind of want to go into that side of stuff. So it kind of applies to all of the different renewable energies, not just a specific kind, but just generally, making people aware of.
And how did you kind of find yourself with that sort of passion? Where did that come from?
I don't really know. I mean, I do think it comes a little bit from being from Colorado, just because I love, where I lived, and I can actually see it changing when I go back, because, we used to get snow, maybe it would start in September and end in June.
September?
And now we get snow. Well, it's not like it's covered in snow the whole time. But, I can definitely see that's reducing. We don't get snow as much as we should be.
And that's only in a matter of, 10 to 15 years, too. That's a very short time span to see actual visible change.
Yeah. So I think coming from there a little bit, but, I mean, it's all around us. And I just don't understand how people can't see that it's changing. Even here, from the time I got here in first year, it would rain during the winter. And now it's been a lot milder, which is alarming to be this north and this close to the coast and not be as wet as it should be.
This year, there just hasn't rained.
I know. Last week, but that was pretty much it.
I know. It's so bizarre. I guess going back to a bit more about St. Andrews before venturing on to other things. In what ways do you think you fit in here, and what ways don't you?
Yeah, I've been preparing for this question.
Yes. Okay.
Or at least trying to. So, I do feel very conscious of how I don't fit in here.
Yeah.
I feel like there's, I don't know, I definitely don't fit into the fashion. That's one thing I noticed straight away. I'll be wearing shorts in winter. And everyone's dressed in black, and I try to dress as colorfully as possible. But I also, I don't know, I don't really care about fitting in that much. Because, I like to bring my own piece of me to St. Andrews. So I feel in a sense, I'm very independent. And I think a lot of people here are. They're proud of where they come from. And I think I do fit into that because, there's so many people from different parts of the world here.
Yeah.
And I definitely fit into the academic side because, I'm hardworking.
Well,
I like to think I'm hardworking.
You are.
But, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. And then I definitely fit into the football club because I feel like we're all the same person.
Different manifestations of the same kind of central hub of weirdness.
Yeah. But it's great because I think you find those pockets that you do fit into And then, like, that's how you can say you fit into St. Andrews. And then, you know, there might be parts that you don't fit into. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's
maybe the fashion or, like, maybe, I don't know, the night culture.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And if you don't fit into those, it's no big deal because you have your parts that you do fit into.
Yeah. Along those lines, like, what do you cherish most about St. Andrews then?
I mean, I'm going to say this, but football, like,
yeah,
has been a part of me since first year. So I always, like, I love everyone on the team. I love the club. Like, I've been in so many different positions in the club that, like, I just want to be involved. But then also, yeah, brain, come on. I feel like I had something else I cherished and I can't remember. I don't know. I just
go back to it if you remember.
No, I think just like meeting so many different people from different places.
Yeah.
Like I just love learning about people's cultural experience. Like there's like I would never have known someone from like India had I not come here because, you know, Colorado's quite small.
Yeah.
But because I talk to my friends back at home that are going to university just in state.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's lots of people in universities in the States as well.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like it's so diverse here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome. Like,
and even if it's someone from the U.S., I feel like it's like,
yeah.
oh, I've lived in, like, all these other places, too.
Yeah.
Like, everyone just has such a unique backstory that
yeah.
So
I feel like I'm super, that's, like, one of my favorite parts about St. Andrews, definitely.
I agree. That's probably one of mine, too. And just its impact on your education as well.
Yeah.
Which I didn't expect, but, like, everyone's background gives them such a different point of view in an educational environment.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see.
I do feel like that's not, well,
oh, it might not
in
be
science it's a little different just because everyone is kind of like, you have the same answer.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't really argue if it's different because then you'd just be wrong.
Yeah.
But, I talked to, I really like to read. And I joined a group of people. It's not like a club or anything, but we like read like classical books and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because I miss English. Like out of one of the gen ed things, I wish I could take English. And so I do get those different points of views when you're talking about that. So like that's a nice little like separate area.
What kind of things do you do outside of academia in St. Andrews? And what do they bring to your life?
Well, football is my main stress reliever.
Yeah.
And friend group, but I think a lot of people have talked about that. So one thing, or well, maybe two other things that people might not know is I'm actually part of the music center. I play piano.
What?
So in Younger Hall, they have practice rooms with pianos and like a huge library of sheet music. So when I'm feeling not sporty, but like just like I need a break and I need to do something, because I feel like sports and science occupy a very different part of your brain, and I think sometimes I need to just be creative, and I suck at art. Like I can't draw to save my life, so I'll just head over there and just play music for an hour or so. So that's something I do. I'm also part of the photography society. I
didn't know this at all.
It's all we talk about is football.
I know.
So I will go like. My flatmate actually does it as well, so we'll go to like the dark room and like make prints and stuff.
Do you have a film camera?
Yeah. So I'll go around and like take nature shots.
I guess I kind of knew that because I like know you always have like a nice camera and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't really put that together. Very cool.
Yeah, and I used to. Well, this semester I tried going to Dundee to compete with a dive team on Saturday mornings, but that sort of went downhill because Saturday mornings are a little rough. Just sometimes.
Do you want to talk about diving? Because that's your
sure.
Secret hidden talent.
I know. I wish I could show people, but it requires a pool and a diving board.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I guess that I was upset that St. Andrews didn't have, that St. Olaf did, because they offered me a spot on their dive team. But yeah, I did it in high school up to when I had my ACL injury. And I don't know, I did it also when I was very young. And it was weird because so from about the age of 7 to 10, I dived very competitively.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I just had a mental block, because obviously it's an individual sport, right?
Yeah.
You don't have people to rely on necessarily how you do. And so I got to a point where I just couldn't learn anything more because I was too afraid. And so I quit and went back to football. And so in high school, my math teacher was talking, she was the dive coach.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how they needed a person. I was like, oh, I used to do diving. And she's like, oh, come along, because like they didn't have anybody. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like I haven't dove in such a long time. And I went, and it was so weird because I actually think my years playing competitive football, like, I don't know what it was, but instantly, like, I wasn't afraid of like the diving board or the water anymore. And I actually, like, I did really well in high school. Like, I competed for my school, and my swim team wasn't very good, but we would always get the points for the meets. And then I came here, and obviously there's no swimming pool or a dive board. Like, the closest one, you have to take a bus to Dundee.
Yeah.
And so I kind of miss it. I mean, it's a different aspect than a team sport, right?
What do you get from diving that you don't get from football?
I think I get a little more self-confidence. I mean, I obviously need that for football, but it's hard to explain. I don't know, like, I know I can rely on myself to do what I need to do to get the scores, right? And in football, like, yeah, you need to rely on yourself, but it's a different kind of mindset. Because you have your teammates, and you're kind of not wanting to let them down. Yeah. But then I think that's a stronger, like, you really don't want to let your teammates down, but you have to really have a lot of self-motivation to not let yourself down. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, if I let myself down, like, I'm just going to give a crappy dive. But, like, finding something to drive you, I learned from diving, definitely.
For sure. Like, having that intrinsic motivation rather than kind of something pushing you along. I guess moving on to more future / reflective questions. What do you? We kind of talked about this in terms of career, but I guess in terms of your life in general, what do you see for yourself in the future? Or want to happen? Just kind of, you can take it as imaginatively as possible as you want.
I mean, I hope to be married at some point. I have my wedding all planned out and everything.
Do you actually?
Yeah. Well, parts of it. We'll get married on the top of a ski hill. That's I don't know. I definitely want to have like a stable career that I enjoy doing. Yeah. And I've gone back and forth on this a lot because I don't know that a PhD is what's for me, because I don't want to spend another 4 or 5 years in school. Yeah. Like, I want to get out and make a difference. And I've also thought about just joining the Peace Corps and just, you know, I don't know, I want to be making a change. I want to probably have a family. I don't know, you know, where in the future that lies, but somewhere. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to be content with who I am and what I'm doing.
What is being content for you? What does that mean? Or what does that require? I think just,
you know, enjoying who I am and the people I surround myself with, like, not worrying about, I mean, I guess in a sense I don't want to be worrying about, you know, funds and stuff. Money. Like, I want to be somewhat stable, but I want to be doing something that I enjoy and not something that is paying the bills, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I want to travel a lot, but that's also hard to do, especially with people. Yeah, without money, because flights are super expensive. I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about the future. Frankly, it scares me a little bit because I have to actually figure out the next year. I know you know, but...
Well, I mean, I'm just delaying the inevitable.
I mean, it's probably what I'll end up doing. So, PhD in Hawaii.
Oh, but I always think about it. I'm like, why didn't I do my undergrad in Hawaii? Like, I could have.
Yep, I know.
Had like
I think that too.
What was
just a different kind of island?
I know. Yeah, a superior one. I would say, weather-wise at least.
Yeah.
I'll ask this one first. What's a constant you've seen throughout your life then?
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Or something you've been able to rely on throughout your life, or.
I mean, my family, definitely. They've always, like, no matter what I'm going through, they can always give me support or advice. Like, they've all been through, I have different mixes of experiences from both my mom, my dad, and my brother, so I can always rely on them. But I guess maybe another constant, I've always been very self-determined. And I think throughout my life, I think that makes me intimidating to some people, which is also why I think I had such issues in middle school. But, like, I've always been able to rely on my studies. Yeah. And, like, if I decide to do something, I can do it very well because, like, I have that drive to, finish it, see it out. So I think throughout my life, that's been something that's been there, and I know I'm not going to be demotivated to do something.
Why do you think it makes you intimidating?
Well, besides that, people tell me I'm intimidating.
Really?
Yeah, no, like, people in high school used to be like, I used to just never approach you because you were too smart or too intimidating. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe it just makes people realize maybe they aren't as driven, and so that makes them afraid. Like, obviously, people have different traits, and, like, I'm not saying, like, being driven is always a good thing. Like, sometimes it makes you very much a perfectionist and very anal about some things. But I think people see traits in other people and then are like, should I have that? And so I think that's why maybe. And it's a bit of an aggressive trait as well. So I think maybe that, I don't know. I don't think I'm an intimidating person, but people tell me.
I don't think you are. I guess I can see what you're saying, though, especially in maybe a high school setting.
Yeah, it's not as much here.
Yeah, it's definitely more like when you see someone succeeding, especially during those years when you're so uncertain.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
What do they have that I don't?
Yeah, exactly.
What's kind of the hardest thing you've had to overcome in your life / are still working on overcoming?
Being outgoing, for sure. Like having the ability to just talk to people. Because for me, like, I'm very uncomfortable in social situations, which I think has gotten better since I was in middle school or high school.
Yeah.
And people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, like, you just look friendly and stuff. I'm like, in the inside, I'm like, let's go find a corner and just, like, read a book or not talk to anyone. So I definitely think, I don't know what it is about it either. I'm just a very shy person.
Do you want to become less shy, or are you learning more to work within your, like, inherent
I think a little bit of both. Because I think also, like, my shyness does bring certain types of people to me as well. Yeah. Like, I think I connect more with, other shy people because maybe my work towards being more outgoing makes me a little, like, no words, sorry. I haven't done English in a while. No, I feel like it makes you connect better to other people who are shy, so it helps them bring them out of their shell, and then as I'm bringing other people, like, I open up myself. Yeah. But no, I think it's the thing that I just continuously work on. And especially, it's not even, like, in a friend sense, but, like, going for interviews or, like, meeting professional people. Like, I mean, I'm sure everyone is, doesn't like doing that either. But, like, for me, I'll get into a situation where my mom will, like, set me up with, like, just chatting, having a coffee, and I have to go and be like, oh, hi, this is me, this is my life. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know.
What do you do to kind of overcome that? Are you the kind of person that will throw yourself into more situations?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
You'll I will just go on a night out and just go by myself. And just force myself to go talk to groups of people because it's good for you. Like, that's how...
I feel like I would never have the courage or the foresight to put myself in those situations more than I need to.
Yeah. Well, and just for me, I think if I don't put myself into those situations frequently, I will never, like, be able to be in those situations when I need to be. Yeah. So, like, I think there's two opposites, and I think for me, constantly trying to be better is what works for me. But it's terrifying.
It's admirable, though. I think it goes back to kind of your thing of being driven, though, as well. Yeah, like, definitely. That's another manifestation of that quality that maybe, like, in my life I would stop it there and be like, no, in this area, not gonna do it. But, like,
whereas I'm just like, okay, keep going.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I guess I have a couple more, but this one's more about relationships, and you can kind of take that word to mean whatever you want. But what's kind of a relationship in your life, platonic, familial, romantic, that has kind of shaped you? Sorry. Or, like, shaped your perception of the world the most?
Wow.
Like a formative relationship in your life.
That's really hard. Okay. Well, I haven't had any romantic relationships that have shaped that, so we'll start with that.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 remaining.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that this might sound really bad, but I don't know that I have a single relationship that I can think of that has shaped something so, like, dramatically that I could point it out. But I think the first few friends I made here, and I think most of them were Scottish, and my flatmate, who was American. And I think everyone I met had such drastically different views on, life, politics, everything. And I think coming from a small mountain town in Colorado where we're very conservative, everyone kind of has the same. And I was never conservative, so that was weird for me. But everyone had the same opinion, and you didn't. You kind of just went with the flow. And I think coming here, like, it just opened my. I don't think I was like a hermit in Colorado, but like I think it just opened my eyes, and like I don't think there was one person that showed me, oh, like they think this, so like why haven't I ever thought about that? But like I think just
every clash of all of the different ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know that many ideas existed.
No, exactly.
All clashed, and then I was like,
And you're like, this is crazy. Like, why have I never been thinking about something this way when
or like
just been this way my whole life? Yeah, exactly.
Why do you think it's important to question things like that?
Well, I think, narrow-mindedness never gets you anywhere, I don't think, in life. And I think in order to, get anywhere professionally or like in a relationship, you have to be open to listening to other people's ideas. And so a part of that is thinking, questioning your own view and thinking, why does this person think this? And then it actually helps you grow because maybe like you just never thought of it that way.
Yeah. And
then it might actually change your perspective. I don't know. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to be more articulate.
No, you're Alison, you're all good. You are a
science major.
30 times more articulate than I was last night at our bonfire. And just to note, I was very inarticulate that evening.
It's a good evening.
I guess I just have my last 2 questions, which you probably anticipate because you've listened to some of these. But the first one is, what is your value system, the principles that kind of guide your life and shape how you kind of go about your day?
Yeah. I've always just tried to be open-minded and nice to everyone, no matter how hard that might be sometimes. Because sometimes, even if they have a different view, you just sometimes really can't agree with what they say. But I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm an optimist mostly, although since, I don't trust people. So I'm kind of a clash of things. But I think just, it doesn't matter who a person is. Like when you first meet them, you have to give them a chance to give them their impression first before you try to judge people. And I try to go by that. Obviously sometimes it's hard not to judge people.
Yeah.
But I try to live every day, being friendly, trying to meet as many people as possible, but then also, being open to hearing, about other people's cultures.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't know.
Was there a time in your life when you think you didn't do that, which is why you want to now? Or is it always just kind of been... Oh, really?
I think, in middle school, I think I was quite closed off and I wasn't friendly. And in high school, I wasn't really interested in meeting new people either. And I was quite judgmental because I think especially like of people maybe, and this sounds really bad, but like people like in like lower classes than me and stuff. Like I was just like, oh, probably I won't get along with them because we're not in the same academic space. But really, I like when I went back to meet those people, like they're really great people, and I'm friends with them now. So like I feel like I was very closed off in high school, and so when I came here, I decided, let's try to be open. Yeah. Let's try to, accept all people and see what happens. Yeah. YOLO, go with the flow, man.
That's definitely something I need to work on. That's like the ultimate hurdle for me, I think.
Everyone struggles with it a little bit, even if they might not admit, in different ways.
Yeah. And then my last question. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from your life so far?
Not to take everything so seriously. And it's like, and I mean, that's not very deep, but like, I think a lot of the time I get caught up in my own emotions on something, and it drives me into a weird place or like a dark place, whether it's with, friends or like studying or even football or sports. Like, I feel like you just need to relax sometimes. And just step back and like look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, you don't have to be so stressed about this because it'll be over soon, and like you get to move on to something even better next. Like I think I just get too stressed out sometimes because I just want everything to be perfect. And I think,
camping.
Camping.
Oh, I said it can't be.
See,
see my inarticulateness.
That was, I think,
it
my
can't be perfect. No. Camping.
Definitely, and like, I think No.
Even though I feel like I objectively know that, I never internalize that.
No, it's really hard to.
Which is the oddest thing. It's just the most simplest thing is that everything is not going to be perfect. It's the only thing you can pretty much count on. That and like death.
And then,
and like, but it's
hard to just.
Those are the two things I have the toughest time internalizing. I don't know.
Yeah. Death is weird. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, because, like, what? Like,
we cease existing.
I was, like, thinking about the universe and stuff. Like, this is deep stuff, but I was like, like, we're only on here for, like, 100 years or so, right? So, like, in the grand scheme of, like, the universe, like you're nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are we doing here? It makes you seem so insignificant. But then you kind of have to rein that in and be like, well, I'm living my life, so let's not think too much about that.
We used to do this. I go to this camp every summer, and I have since I was 8, and then you become like a counselor when you're older. And we have these things called devotions. So at the end of every day, you kind of do like a reflective activity or kind of like a chat session with your cabin. And there's one where you take the kids outside and like, it's in the mountains, so you lay on the ground and you look up at the stars. And the whole thing is like you build them up, and you're like, or you like build them down, and you're like, oh my gosh, this universe is so huge, like that's just one star, one galaxy, blah, blah, blah. And you make them seem like they're super insignificant. It's all a mind game. Don't worry. It's a really good camp. But then at the end of it, you kind of like bring it back down, and you're like, but out of all those things, you were chosen, you were actually living on this earth, the chances of that happening were like, so many like variables had to come together. So it's kind of like I don't know.
It's interesting to think about. But it's something that you can't let overtake your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
goes back to not taking things so seriously. Like not having to have the answer for everything and why. And,
exactly.
It's like exhausting, and it'll just kind of, I don't know, hinder you from doing things, I think, sometimes.
Sometimes I wish, though, like, if I was in this life, why couldn't I have been, like, in Harry Potter or something? Like, why this one?
I know.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Well, I've never gone to that realm of in a discussion before, but I'm glad it happened. These are things I think about. Just death and imperfection.
I don't know. It's interesting to me. And obviously I want to study the stars as well, so, like, that's something that you have to find a happy medium when you're, like, thinking about it, because you're, like, you're studying this stuff, but also, like, you hardly ever get results, because, like, space is so big. Like, it's weird.
But I was going to say something and then I totally forgot. Do you fear death?
No.
Why?
Okay.
Because I do. I'm terrified of it.
I mean, I think I'm afraid of how I'll die. So, like, I'd be afraid, like, of, like, drowning or, like, certain types of death. But I think death is itself, like, it's a closing of your chapter. And I do, like, I believe in reincarnation.
Okay,
so I think sometime later on in your life, or later on in the world, you'll have a different life. And I don't know. I think it'll happen when it's meant to happen. And you live life every day and don't worry about it. Yeah. It's my motto. I don't know. Like, I've never really had, like, any near-death experiences either. Like, I've obviously had people in my life die. But and I'm not a religious person at all, but I think just when it's your time. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. And I would never want to know when I'm going to die, you know, like those people that, like, figure out, like, oh, you'll die, like, this day. Like, I wouldn't want to know that.
People figure out their
day of death? I don't know if that's...
I think that's a movie.
Probably. Okay, but you know, like, people on those, like, oh my god. Like, on reality TV shows, like, you know, The Biggest Loser or something. They'll be like, if you don't change your lifestyle, you'll die in, like, 10 years. Okay, it's not the exact date.
April 22nd. Birthday.
Probably if we know April 1st.
That's true.
No, I'm not afraid of it.
Well, that's nice, though. Where do you find, like, comfort in the universe? You say you're not, like, a religious person. Is that because of kind of your scientific leanings?
I just never... Well, my parents were both religious when they were children. And they decided they didn't want to bring me and my brother up in that way. They wanted us the freedom of choice. So we never went to church or anything. So I think part of it is how I grew up.
Did you ever experiment yourself? Like... want to attend church?
I had a lot of friends who went to church. Like, where I live is a very Christian community. And so, like, sometimes I would go with them just to see what it was all about when I was older. I didn't go when I was younger. And it just... I could never believe... Just because I experimented when I was so much older that I had, like, you know, the background of... like the theory of evolution, like the Big Bang and stuff, that like I just couldn't accept that it was just one person.
The creation story.
So like for me, it just was never something that I took comfort in, because I took comfort in knowing, the world evolved. That's my comfort. Whereas
do you ever miss or like wish you had kind of that kind of childlike faith, like just crux of belief in your life, or no?
I think
like you have it in your own way with...
I don't know. I mean, I believe in things, but it's just not necessarily a God. I don't know. I believe in science. It was always comfortable for me to just know the answers to things, and I think in faith you put a lot more of yourself on the line, and to just believe in something that you can't prove, and for me, I find it more comforting to believe in stuff that you can prove. So,
Nice. That's kind of like all the questions and stuff I have, but is there anything else you want to talk about, or something we missed, or any more topics?
I don't think so. I don't know. I kind of wish we could all just, like, choose. This is, like, a weird thing, but, like, I obviously read a lot, and I kind of, like, wish there was, like, a thing that could be created in the future where you could just choose if you go in a story and then, like, live in that story, because it, like...
Like virtual reality?
Well, I think they have that. But, like, even further, because, like, I feel like virtual reality, you watch it happen, but you don't get to be immersed in it. Like, I would love, and I don't know, like, one of my favorite books is... Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Really?
And I wish, like, it's a fiction book.
Yeah. I had a lot of trouble getting through that.
Oh, really? I read it for high school, AP Lit, but I feel like it's a fictional book, right? Yeah. But it's based in very old-time London, and, like, I wish I could just, like, experience what that was like, but not necessarily be a character in the book, just, like, be around.
Yeah, have, like, a more, like, visceral connection.
Yeah.
That, like, you kind of are, you get to a certain point where you can, like, feel for characters or feel certain things because of what's happening, but actually, like...
experiencing.
Yeah,
like I feel like I get so emotional when I read books. Like I sit down and I'll read a book and no one can distract me. Like people come into my room and be like, Alison, 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 and I'll just be like just sitting there like reading.
Yeah.
And so like I wish they could create something that could make that actually happen, because I see it all in my head, but
What is it about kind of like fictional worlds that is interesting to you? Or
I don't know. I think it's something about like, it's something different from, what you experience. Like, I read a lot of fantasy books as well, like Harry Potter. But like, it's just like a different experience that you get to experience through someone else's views. Like going back to that, but like, I mean, you have your life and your story, and there are millions of stories out there written by other people that I just wish I could experience them all. I don't have the time.
It's like gaining as much kind of, like a body of experience as possible. Because when you think about it, like if you were to limit yourself to just what you know and what you felt, that's like a super limited, small part of the world of anything.
And even like fictional books, like most of them are based on some true things. So like it's just an expansion of, one real story expanded into like a million other different ways. Like I just think it's cool.
And it goes into like trying to meet or like connect with more people and be more open with people too, because it's, if you close yourself off, you're kind of shutting yourself off from experiencing more things as well. Yeah. Like, that was realizing things. I was going to quote Kylie Jenner when she said, 2015 is it's about realizing things and just, to me, realize. But I thought it was experiencing.
Oh, okay. Realize.
It doesn't
kind of similar.
Yeah.
Oh. That's pretty much it.
Nice. Thank you so much, Alison.
No problem.
Thanks for the chat, man.